The fight for water on the Eyre Peninsula has reached a boiling point, and the truth is more shocking than you think. In this video, we are going to explore the intense battle over South Australia's Eyre Peninsula desalination plant at Billy Lights Point. You will learn why this project is considered essential, who is fighting against it, and what the potential consequences are for culture, environment, and the local economy. By the end, you will understand not just the urgent water crisis, but the dramatic ripple effects that could transform this region forever. Eyre Peninsula is home to around 35,000 South Australians who rely heavily on groundwater for their daily water needs. These aquifers, formed over thousands of years, have sustained generations. But now, with prolonged droughts, climate change, and increasing demand, these water sources are drying up at an alarming rate. The government's answer is to build a massive desalination plant at Billy Lights Point. On paper, it sounds like a straightforward solution, a modern infrastructure project to safeguard water security. In reality, the situation is far more complex. For decades, locals and scientists alike have warned that Eyre Peninsula's underground water supplies cannot meet future demand. The South Australian government responded by approving a desalination plant at Billy Lights Point. The goal is simple yet ambitious: create a climate-independent water supply that will protect the region from drought, hotter summers, and the unpredictability of aquifers. But as plans progressed, opposition grew loud and organized. Indigenous groups raised concerns about the destruction of sacred heritage sites. Local aquaculture operators feared the ecological impact could devastate their livelihoods. The cost, initially projected at $330 million, has now climbed to $470 million, stirring controversy and raising questions about whether the benefits truly outweigh the risks. The Eyre Peninsula's traditional water sources are under immense pressure. According to SA water projections, by 2026, the aquifers may no longer reliably provide drinking water for tens of thousands of residents. The desalination plant, using advanced reverse osmosis technology, is expected to produce up to 5.3 gigaliters of water per year, enough to meet the region's essential needs. More importantly, it is designed as a climate-independent supply. That means it will continue to function even in the face of extended droughts and extreme heat waves. For the government, this is not just a water project. It is a lifeline, a shield against the growing uncertainties of climate change. But the urgency comes with a cost, and not everyone is convinced that it is worth it. Originally pegged at $330 million, the project has now swelled to $470 million. Government officials cite global inflation, labor shortages, and critical design changes as the main drivers of the budget increase. For example, the marine pipeline will now be tunneled beneath the shoreline and intertidal zones, a more challenging engineering feat. While this method significantly reduces dredging by approximately 85%, it is far more expensive. The government argues these changes demonstrate a commitment to environmental sensitivity, but opponents see it differently. They believe the price escalation is emblematic of poor planning and growing risk. The debate is not just about money. It is about the long-term consequences for people and the environment. Opposition to the Billy Lights Point desalination plant is being led most prominently by the Barngarla people, the traditional custodians of the land. For them, this is not simply a matter of infrastructure placement. It is about cultural survival and respect for thousands of years of history. They argue that the government has failed to conduct a full, comprehensive Aboriginal heritage survey, despite repeated warnings that the site contains ancient fish trap complexes and other culturally significant features. These structures are not merely relics, they are living symbols of identity and continuity. In the Barngarla people's view, the project demonstrates an unsettling willingness to overlook community concerns while exhibiting what they describe as reckless disregard for Indigenous heritage. Beyond cultural protection, serious ecological concerns have also intensified the opposition. The waters of the bay surrounding Billy Lights Point are known to be highly sensitive, containing sediments with dormant dinoflagellate cysts. If agitated or displaced, these cysts could release harmful toxins that cause paralytic shellfish poisoning. For an area whose aquaculture sector thrives on mussel and oyster production, the stakes are severe. Any disturbance could destroy key breeding grounds, devastate shellfish populations, and undermine the Eyre Peninsula's long-standing reputation as a provider of clean, premium seafood. The fear is not hypothetical. Industry experts warn that one ecological misstep could trigger long-lasting damage. As a result, the situation has become deeply polarized. On one side stands the urgent need to secure long-term water resources for an entire region facing increasing climate pressure. On the other side stand cultural preservation, environmental protection, and the livelihoods of workers whose incomes rely on the health of the sea. This tension forms the emotional core of the conflict, highlighting the complex choices confronting the community. Government officials, however, remain firm in their stance that Billy Light's Point is the only viable option capable of delivering water fast enough to avert a looming supply crisis. According to their analysis, other proposed locations, such as Sleaford West, would require nearly double the investment, around $920 million, and far more time, placing the region at unacceptable risk. They stress that delaying the project could push Eyre Peninsula into severe water restrictions or force emergency measures far costlier than the current plan. To bolster confidence, SA Water has partnered with ACCIONA and McConnell Dowell, both respected global engineering and construction firms with decades of experience in large-scale infrastructure. The government argues that their involvement ensures the plant will be built with precision, efficiency, and environmental safeguards. Part of this approach includes designing intake and outflow pipes that extend roughly 1 kilometer offshore into deeper waters, where circulation is stronger and ecological sensitivity is lower. Additionally, trenchless construction techniques are planned to minimize direct impact on intertidal zones, preserving as much natural habitat as possible. Despite these assurances, critics contend that technological solutions cannot fully eliminate the risks. They insist that cultural, social, and ecological damage cannot simply be engineered away, and that the government is underestimating the long-term consequences. Politically, the project places the government under intense scrutiny. Many argue that officials have failed to adequately consult the Barngarla people, raising concerns about transparency and inclusivity. Socially, voices of dissent have emerged across local councils, resident groups, and environmental advocates who feel the process has moved too quickly, leaving community perspectives sidelined. Economically, the Eyre Peninsula's seafood industry stands at the center of the debate. Generating hundreds of millions of dollars annually, it is one of the region's most valuable assets. Any environmental contamination, even temporary, could shake consumer confidence and disrupt export relationships. There is also a legal dimension. Indigenous groups have indicated that litigation is possible, which could delay construction and inflate costs further. Yet the government maintains that water restrictions will not be necessary and that rising project costs will not be passed on to households. Still, the gulf between urgency and caution has never been sharper. Here lies the dramatic core of the entire controversy. The infrastructure intended to safeguard the region's future may simultaneously threaten the very foundations of its identity and prosperity. The Barngarla people's sacred sites risked irreparable harm, potentially erasing chapters of cultural history that cannot be reconstructed. The surrounding marine ecosystem, already fragile, could be pushed to a breaking point. Mussel and oyster farms, pillars of the region's reputation for purity and ocean-grown excellence, face possible collapse if environmental conditions shift. Compounding this tension is the project's financial trajectory, which has already surged far beyond early projections. In the push to secure water security, the Eyre Peninsula may be stepping into a new landscape of unknown consequences. The narrative of progress has become inseparable from a deeper cautionary tale about the unseen costs of development, the fragility of culture, and the vulnerability of natural systems. The Eyre Peninsula desalination plant at Billy Light's Point represents a critical gamble. It offers the promise of a climate-resilient water supply by 2026, giving the region a buffer against future droughts. Yet critics warn that the price may be paid in cultural loss, ecological instability, and potential damage to a world-renowned seafood industry. The project encapsulates the difficult choices communities must confront in a warming world. Ultimately, the central question remains: how much risk is acceptable in the pursuit of survival? If this breakdown provided clarity or sparked new questions, please like and subscribe to stay informed as this story develops. We would also value your perspective. Does the urgent need for water justify the potential cultural and environmental damage, or should the government rethink its approach? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your voice is an essential part of this ongoing debate.